Hello everyone, I hope you guys are doing really well. My name is Julian and today we will try to understand more commands in SQL. We will specifically look at how we can group certain set of values and run SQL commands on it. For understanding it better, let's try to go back to the story of Mrs. Harper, a librarian who is responsible for managing thousands of books. As the library collection grew, she realized that using SQL to quickly analyze data, like the number of books by each author and the publication years, would make her job much more easier. To solve this, she learned how to make use of group by clause. We will try to understand group by clause in this particular video. So these tools helped her filter the data to focus on specific information. In this session, we'll try to explore how Mrs. Harper could use SQL clauses to quickly answer the important questions such as how many books does each author have in the library? What is the average publication year of books by each author? Which author have written more than one book? And we'll also get to know which authors have books with average publication year more than 1900. By mastering these SQL techniques, Mrs. Harper could significantly reduce her manual work and quickly generate the insights she needs, improving the efficiency of the library operations. So let's try to understand what this group by clause is. So the group by clause in SQL is used to group a set of rows that share the same value in one or more columns. So Mrs. Harper can also make use of this clause to get summarized data such as counting books by each author or calculating the average publication year of the books. Okay, let's try to take one scenario. Let's just say Mrs. Harper need to know how many books each author has written. So let's try to consider this as a replica of the books that Mrs. Harper has. So Mrs. Harper wants to know how many books each author has. For having the count of the books that individual author has written, we can make use of group by clause. Let's try to see how we can do this. So let's try to print the count. So we are familiar with the aggregate function count. And then we will also make use of the column author. So we want to group by the name of the author. So we want to group by the name of the author. So group by name of the author means that we are trying to combine all of the rows where the authors are similar. And simultaneously, we are trying to return the count of that group. Let's try to run this. All right. So we have gotten two rows, author and count, where we are getting the name of the authors that we had and the number of books that they have written. So we can see that Jane Smith has written 2 books, Alice Brown has written 2 books, and then Stephen Hawking has also written 2 books. So count function counts the number of books for each author, and then the group by author groups the books by the author's name, summarizing the data per author. Let's try to take one more scenario. Let's just say Mrs. Harper wants to get the average publication year for each author. For getting the average publication year of each author, we can add one more column of average of every publication year. And then we are trying to create group by the author. Let's try to run this. All right, so we are getting the average publication year of each author now. Okay, let's take a look at the table once again. So from the original table, we can see that John Doe has only 1 book inside the library, and we have 2 books of Jane Smith. So we have combined both of these rows into one row, and then we have returned the column of how many times this is appearing. And then for the times that they are appearing, we have calculated the average of the publication year 2018 and 2021. Now Mrs. Harper is running into one more problem. So Mrs. Harper is looking for all those authors which have their book counts more than 1 inside the library. So if there's any author which has more than 1 book inside the library, we want to have names of all those authors. Okay, let's try to remove the publication years. So for working with the values that are being returned from this aggregate function, we can make use of having clause. So what having clause does is that having clause checks the value for the aggregate functions. For the aggregate functions that we have grouped together. So we want to check all those values which have the count more than one. So if there's any author which has more than one book in the library, we want to return all those authors. Let's try to run this. All right. So now we are returning all those authors which have the count of books more than one. So having clause is used to filter records after the group by operation has been performed. It's like the where clause, but specifically for grouped data. So Mrs. Harper can also use it to filter authors who didn't meet the specific criteria. So we can make use of the group by clause for handling complex queries. So just like Mrs. Harper used the group by clause for getting the count of books by every author, the average publication year, and many more operations. So by making use of group by and having, Mrs. Harper was also able to handle complex queries efficiently and improved the management of the library's vast collection. So these SQL techniques helps us to save time and provide much more relevant information to the user. I hope you had a good time learning more about group by clause and how you can make use of having clause with group by clause. Happy coding, everyone.